Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on our exclusive webinar, You Didn't Miss the Boat, Why Peer-to-Peer is Still Your Biggest Growth Opportunity. We're going to go ahead and get started right at the top of the hour, but the chat is open. We would love to hear from you. Say hello, see who we have on, let us know your organization and where you're joining from across the country. We're really excited to get started. All right, so as we have more of you joining, welcome to everyone that's just joining us right now. Go ahead and drop in the chat where you are joining your organization so we can see who we have on. We're really excited to get started today. Today's session will be recorded, so you're going to get a recorded copy of the webinar as well as the PowerPoint slides. So you can go through them with your team, take it, do your own follow-up, things like that. So we will go ahead and get started so we can get the full hour, a lot of great content. So welcome to You Didn't Miss the Boat, Why Peer-to-Peer is Still Your Biggest Growth Opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our panel. First up, we have Adam Cruz, who is the National Membership Coordinator of the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. Hi, Adam. We have Patrick Kirby, who is the founder of Do Good Better Consulting. Thanks for being here today, Patrick.
Thank you for having me.
We have David Blyer, who is the co-founder, president, and CEO of Arriva. Hi, David.
Gabby, thanks for putting this together, and I will thank them twice, but thank you all, our panelists, for joining this and giving our amazing audience some really great helpful tips. And I want to thank everybody that has already joined us. I hope you walk away with some really invaluable information. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, David. We have Chris Fink, who is the COO of Arriva. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Gabby, thank you. Gabby for putting this together. Thanks to Adam, Patrick, and Amanda and David for being on this.
And we have Amanda Gardner joining us. Amanda previously spent 16 years at Boys and Girls Club National, and for the past 5 years, she was the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club of Salt Lake. But she has joined Arriva now as the senior fundraising consultant. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Gabby. I am so thrilled to be here in this new role. Happy to share whatever insights that I've gained over my career with everyone here.
Thanks, Amanda. And my name's Gabriella Salemi. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Arriva, and I will be your moderator for today. So to get started, we would love to hear from you on how many systems are you currently using to manage your fundraising and donor activity. So this can be solutions for online donations, peer-to-peer, event registration, ticketing, memberships, grants, volunteers, maybe different auction software. So if you really think about it, how many would you estimate you're using in total? And then we'll share the results afterwards so everyone can take a look. All right, so looking at our results here, about 37% are using two solutions, 29% are using three. We've got a few people using 5 or more, some using 4, and then we have 11% using 1. Next question, we would like to know, are you having to move data from those separate solutions, if you're using separate solutions, into one central location? That can be a CRM, can be an Excel sheet, but are you having to move that data? Okay. So 56% of you said yes, 38% said no, and 7% are not sure. Which is fair enough. And then once someone makes a donation or an activity on your online pages, does it take longer than 72 hours to acknowledge donors with a personalized thank you, acknowledgement, and receipt. So you have the option for yes, no, I'm not sure. And maybe you aren't sending out thank yous after donations, which we've seen that a few times, and there's easy solutions for that too. All right, so 62%, the majority, are not sending out thank yous after donations. 28% of you are, 9% are not, and 2% do not send out any thank you after a donation is made. And then our session is focused today on peer-to-peer, but we would love to know, have you ever done a peer-to-peer or team fundraiser before? And they are different. We can explain that. Well, we're going to explain that difference to you on today's session. We'd love to know if you've done both of them. Maybe you've only done peer-to-peer, if you've only done team fundraising, or maybe you haven't done either and you're here to learn more. Give a few more seconds for some answers to come in.
Gabby, and I know
Right.
this is too late, but these are anonymous. We don't see who's doing this. So
Yes. Yeah,
we
your
should have
name's
said
not going to pop up or anything.
No
Don't worry
shaming
about that.
here. No shaming here.
All right, so 28% have done both. 23% have just done peer-to-peer, 13% have only done team fundraising, and 36% have not done either. And then we'd love to know, how many fundraising events do you run a year? Got options for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 or more. All right. So looking at the results, tied, 20% are doing 1 and 3. We've got a few of you doing 6 or more, 5, 4, and 2. So kind of all across the board. And then last question before turning it over to the panel. Have you ever combined team fundraising or peer-to-peer fundraising leading up to your event?
While they're answering the last one too, by the way, and this is hilarious, and I think it's fascinating on the responses of this, that basically everyone here is juggling like two, three, five systems. Everybody feels like maybe peer-to-peer is like herding cats. And then everyone's thank you game, even though you're probably maybe good at writing letters up, kind of feels aspirational. The best part about this when you're finishing these final polls is that P2P here that we're going to talk about fixes like three of these problems at once. And like, you don't have to be huge. You don't have to be a gigantic organization. This solves like most of your issues here. And that's what's most exciting, is that all these things add up to all the solutions we're going to give today. This is very awesome.
That's a great point, Patrick. And then before I pass it over to you, 77% have never used peer-to-peer or team fundraising as part of an event, and 23% of you have. All right, and I will pass it over to you, Patrick.
This is pretty fascinating stuff. Okay, so I want you to take a peek at this slide here really quick. Can we go over this really? This is fascinating to me on some massive challenges, right? So we've got 45% is the national retention rate. And if you're not watching or looking at this number, this is probably a really good indication of how healthy your organization is when it comes to your donor relationships. First-time donors, 19%, 53 is a 50% of nonprofits see as reacquisition as a real big challenge. The declining giving is. This number is really variable too. I've seen it as large as 15% and as small as 3. That's sort of variable. Here's the one that I think is the most potentially depressing spiral is the 66%. And this is why I think this is an opportunity, and this is why P2P, and this is why you're here today. This is the most exciting stat that you can actually go, is 66% of every charitable giving is an individual. An individual. It's not foundations, it's not corporations, it's human beings, it's people, right? So 19% people not coming back, it's not a donor problem, it's a follow-up problem. And your P2P here and your peer-to-peer thing that we're going to talk about, that solves it. because someone else raises the money for you. It's not just gives, but they raise it for you, right? So they're telling their friends, they're telling their family, they're telling all these kind of people. They've got skin in the game now, and it's a fundamentally different relationship than someone that clicked on the button at like 10:35 at night because they forgot about something or they're kind of moved on it like a Giving Tuesday. This is a completely revolutionary place. So as these numbers kind of pop up in front of you, it's not a depressing piece. This is the most opportunistic place that your organization can be, bar none.
Yeah. And I will say this, many donors, when you look at it as 90% first timers, they feel good about their donation, and you never hear
Yeah.
from them again because
Mhm.
the organizations themselves are not responding in a meaningful way,
Yeah.
and they don't see the impact and as a donor. So they don't feel part of the story. They don't feel like they're contributing. They don't feel connected, and they move on. That's what
Yeah.
we're going to talk about today is the solution to do that. And if you look at even some of your answers on the statistics of not acknowledgement, acknowledgement is a really key factor, and that's why we said about 72%. And we will talk about those solutions. But I think this is, and we'll get into this further, but really telling impact stories, not just outcomes, is essential. You know, segmentation that we can talk about here and personalization is where you need to be. I mean, and I'm sure some of you already are, but the gratitude and showing gratitude early, and I mean early, because if you do it 30 days after because you're moving data where you didn't have time and there was no way of acknowledging them without
Mhm.
really moving stuff around, it literally becomes a negative. And this is
Mhm.
why when you have these type of statistics, it speaks the story. And I think, the top three pillars that we hear about is what? Donor acquisition, how do I increase it? Donor retention, why is it declining? And how do I get faster acknowledgement and nurture mine? And I think this is part of it. And keep in mind, as scary as some of these numbers are, it's an average. Some are doing better and some are doing worse. It's a national average.
And everyone's experiencing this. You're not in a
Right.
bubble. Like everybody's experiencing this. The ones who can get out of their own way by implementing a system like Ariva, so you don't have to worry about a lot of those things. The 10,000 things on your plate every single day almost vanish. And so that's again, this is such an advantage to learn from brilliant human beings that are on this panel, because you're going to get the solutions that you actually need. You're like, how on earth do I do this? We got it.
Yeah. I was going to mention one thing, Gabby, there too. To your point, Patrick, about the majority of donations coming from individuals. I mean, that's where a healthy organizations want to get there, right? I mean, we just talked to an organization, Dave and I talk to them every week, but we just talked to one a few weeks ago that lost a huge multi-million-dollar government grant. And I know that's happening across a lot of nonprofit organizations, and they have a very small individual donor base, and that is not a healthy place to be as an organization, right? Scrambling to build that, but you can do it, and I think what we're going to talk about today is an excellent way to acquire new donors. So anyway,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
Yep.
Awesome. I think this is where I jump in, right? Like,
Yeah.
what is the difference between peer-to-peer and team fundraising? And I'll be honest with you, at my organization for a number of years, we use these interchangeably, and sometimes use peer-to-peer in a team setting and vice versa. It's what makes sense for you and your organization, your event, your donors, your board members. But really, team fundraising is that online peer-to-peer fundraiser that exist by itself, or it can amplify and enhance an existing campaign with a start and end date, right? So this is about taking your people who love you, who know you, who are engaged with your mission, and amplifying their voice and giving them the tools that they need to really become fundraisers for you. They are your best ambassadors. They have the best stories because they're connected deeply and personally with your mission. But it's about giving them the tools that they need to be able to do that. So you can make that as part of an event. I'll show you an example of how we built that into part of an annual campaign, but it really is about making your supporters fundraisers, ambassadors to your mission, connecting their circles of influence, right? With that, acquisition is all about influence and the circles of influence and how many you have out there. I don't think we have an acquisition problem. We have an engagement problem, right? To get those new donors, to keep the ones who we have, but also then to take those who have our best connections to us as fundraisers and as organizations to say, how do I now engage my friends, my family, my peers, the people who want to support me because they love me, and then they know this mission is dear to my heart for whatever reason. Now they become a supporter and want to get to know our donors even more, right? And want to get to know our organization. And then when we have them as fundraisers and as an organization, and you've created these tools and templates and infrastructure, and it's all coming back to you, you now have more people that you can now engage, that you can connect with the person who brought them to you, that you can engage even on deeper levels. You want to go to the next slide? So again, some of the benefits of peer-to-peer and team fundraising, we're going to see these in our live examples that we have from Adam and from what I've done in my experience. But really, it's about that increasing your acquisition, right? We all need new people, but again, engaging them once you have them. Imagine if you could take that 81% of those first-time donors and get them to donate again. And the reason that they're not is because they weren't thanked, they didn't feel the impact, they didn't understand, and they'd never heard from the organization after they made that first gift. Take that, automate it, and integrate that into all of your systems so that you can communicate with those people who are supporting these campaigns, and you're going to get that next gift. The best thing about the peer-to-peer campaigns and toolkits, especially with Ariba and Exceed Further, is it's customizable. You're going to be able to, you don't want this out on some third-party platform. I won't name names, but where you don't have control over the branding, the forms, the messaging, the information of who's giving to them, right? You want to be able to create a system, as Patrick mentioned, that is customizable to you and your mission and your organization, your branding, your message, your people, and then you get that information back into it with being able to track that last point there, being able to track who's giving, how much did they give? How often did they give? Who are they connected to? And then now what are you going to do with that information, right? So many benefits being able to set up your own peer-to-peer or team fundraising campaign within a system that you control, because control is the key, right? If we're letting other third-party, fourth-party platforms out there tell our story or collect our data and the people who want to give and support our cause, we can't do anything about that, right? So once it comes into our system and we can control it, then we can control how we respond and how we engage and how we follow up with those people. Next.
Amanda, it's something you said that's
Yeah.
very important too, is that everybody is overwhelmed with the amount of information that they have at their
Absolutely.
fingertips. And so how do you prioritize who you
Yep.
get a hold of and who you personally
Yep.
think just need to have a written thank you, who needs to whatever. This allows you, and so you don't have to go to like fifth and ninth party groups. It allows you to segment your priority donors, your large donors, the ones
Absolutely.
who've given more than they had last year. So you don't have to, again, you don't have to think about it. So you can just live in the moment and be a human rather than
Yep.
try to like work through the data that's automatically done for you.
I love that, Patrick. Thank you so much. And to be able to segment is key, right?
Mhm.
Once you have that control, as
Yes.
I was mentioning, right, then you know how to take this list and dice it up
Yep.
into who are the people who are our first time donors, who are the people who have given again, who gave more than they did last year. What's our average gift size of a new donor? Who gave above that? Right? Where do we want to? Then you can segment that. Now you know a lot about these people who are giving, and you can talk to them in your emails, in your follow-ups, as a human, and they go, oh, Patrick knows who I am. He's paid attention. That's meaningful to me. I'm important to Patrick, right? So it's so important. Segmentation and being able to control that data and that information tells you so much about the people who are giving to your organization and how they want to be communicated with on that human level. Absolutely.
It,
Next
it
slide.
also allow it
Thanks, David.
also allows to empower your current donors really to become your advocates in a
Yep.
larger champ.
Yeah.
It's not just within your donor database and you're asking them to do something, but if you have that ability, either or, whether it's team fundraising or peer-to-peer fundraising, they will become advocates for you and spread the mission and spread the message even more. You also have to provide, share personal stories. You've got to give them information on the messaging, and you got to personalize, like Amanda said, these fundraising pages and inspiring others to give. I mean, so you've got to really think about
Mm-hmm.
it, but it truly does, it encourage it encourages the participants to involve and remember this, their personal and professional network. So you're now, when you talk
Exactly.
about donor acquisition, how do I expand that? And you're expanding that through these active donors, board members, volunteers. I mean, it could be more than that, right? And they're pushing this out. So you're widening your donor database organically and very authentically.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, this is just one of many benefits that's going to allow you to expand and grow that donor database. It's also encouraging your existing donors. So it's another way of continuously nurturing, thanking. I mean, maybe if you're not doing this, and I know some of you haven't, but you can also form like a ambassador group of donors and
Yep.
give them a great cool name about, I am now an ambassador, and they feel good. Again, you got to go back. As much as you're thanking the people that are giving, you also have to be thanking the people that are providing that network and doing this for you, whether they're giving their own donations or spreading out their networks.
Yep.
But, and I just want to bring up one point, because I really do, when you talk about benefits, and I know we're talking about technology and making it easy for a lot of different things. I would caution you on one front. There's some really great platforms out there like GoFundMe, and I think it's a really awesome platform. It is not for the nonprofit industry.
No.
Why? An individual will go out and publicize, and they may get a lot of donations. They're getting the check and giving it. So you're literally getting one check from one donor. You're not building your donor database. So I caution you on doing that, because whether you use a Reaver or not, whatever system you're using, you want to make sure that every team fundraising that you're setting up or peer-to-peer fundraising, that there's a way that you're capturing all of that data into your donor relationship management database, and you're providing automatic acknowledgement receipts, notifications when they're coming in, building best practices around this to acknowledge those people almost immediately. So there's a lot more to this, but I think these are just some of the benefits of using an integrated peer-to-peer and team fundraising solution.
I love what you said there, David. Thank you so much, especially about inspiring others to give, right? What that also does is add credibility to your organization and to your cause. There is so much noise out there, and let's be frank, scams that are happening, right? And so you get a call or you see a link and you don't know if it's true or not. But when Patrick says, "Hey, Amanda, I've given to this cause. This is important to me. Will you also give?" Then I'm like, oh, if Patrick says it's good, I'm going to go in there too. So it gives that credibility to your organization as well and to your mission. And the inspiring others to give, we also know that millennial generation who are now full grown adults, and that makes me feel really old, but are also more likely to volunteer first and then donate. So activate your volunteer base with a peer-to-peer campaign or a team campaign, and they're going to be great changers for your organization. We know that in generational giving, that millennial base, they're volunteering, they're getting involved, they connect. And this is, I think, just a great example of how Ronald McDonald House has been doing that, and year over year, doubling not only their dollars raised, but their participants. I mean, look at that 2024, They started out with $33,000 and 33 teams. That's a pretty even math right there, right? But now look in 2025, they doubled that to 45,000 with 60 teams. In 2026, right now, they just finished this campaign. They kept raising their goal because they kept meeting and exceeding it. So they kept changing it. We're like, let's go for 50, let's go for 65. They ended up closing just recently at $79,000 in just 2 years from what they were raising at $33,000 in just this one single event with more than 123 teams and almost 1,000 donors. 1,000 donors. Imagine, again, when I talk about control, now Ronald McDonald House has that information of who those 998 people are and why they gave and who they gave through and all of that stuff. So powerful. And you can just see year over year how they've been able to amplify their campaign through team fundraising.
And Amanda, it sounds amazing, but I'll share this with you because we know history. What they used to do is have this as an event. It would,
Yep.
and this is an event, but
A
what they
single
would
event,
do is they would,
standalone.
yeah, they would send out an event registration to all of their donors, and they had what they would consider success. The following year, when we told them there's a whole movement about combining event, peer-to-peer, and team fundraising as one, so they initially sent out again the same about the event, the time frame, registering for it, paying for it. The second segment that they did was they built team fundraising around this, including peer-to-peer and events, because they asked their team captains that they identify to go out and raise money on behalf, what was driving this, why they were raising money. Obviously it was about the event itself, but why they were raising the money. And they said, please give me a donation. This is why I'm doing it. And if you'd like to attend, you can register here. Remember, this is a whole new network that's not in their database. They literally, as you can see, more than doubled their registration and more than doubled their goal. So it's really interesting. And as much as you see it's an $80,000 goal, like Amanda said, their original goal was to exceed last year's, and I think they made it like 46 or 50 or whatever that was. They immediately and the system allowed them to continue changing that goal as they were going up. So because sometimes people don't give necessarily if they say they already exceeded their goal, and they learn those little tidbits as well. So by combining all of this in one and then giving it out to that new potential network, that's how you're going to double this growth. And at the same time, you're going to grow your donor acquisition database. You're going to have to nurture those and say thank you. So it really does. And again, it goes back to donor retention as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This allows you to really amplify and enhance your existing events, right? With people who maybe want to support Patrick because he's running in the 5K or whatever, but I'm not there. I'm 5 states away. I can't contribute, but I can give and support him because I want to champion him on, right? And so for those people who answered in the poll that they're doing 6 events, like bless you. Got like I'll send you some coffee. I don't know what you need, but like 6 events in a year, that's a lot. But imagine amplifying those events 10x because now you have peer-to-peer team fundraising on top of those that are reaching other audiences other than the people who are walking in the door or coming across the finish line. Absolutely. Oh, we get to hear from Adam now.
Okay,
Adam,
great.
you are
You
amazing.
all get to hear from me. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for attending, everybody. My name's Adam Cruz. I'm the membership coordinator at the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, as well as the youth coordinator for our youth programs, which I'll be talking about today. Our AFA Teens program, which is a student-led initiative in high schools that they send in a interest form to us, and we get that interest form. They tell us why they want to start a chapter in their school. Once we receive that, I'll send them a application to fill out along with the handbook. Once they complete that, they send it back to me, and yeah, then they're off to raise awareness and raise funds. So their fundraising efforts are just very grassroots. They create their own campaigns. They organize events like walkathons, bake sales, and they really get creative with it. They do like dunk tanks, water balloon fights, and they have fun with it, as well as make it an educational event. Um, and Yeah, we just try to engage people in their high school or their peers, as well as their um, families and friends. Next slide. And the goal of AFA Teens is to engage students, like I said previously, by raising awareness, starting a chapter, and leading their fundraising efforts. Um, and oh, I see I got a question. Love to know more about how you do this. Okay, great. Well, I'll send you a message. Near Nyria. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'll send you a message right after this. Um, and to sustain participation, momentum across chapters nationwide. So we want to kind of have these chapters be like a legacy to for their school to kind of have it ongoing. So once they graduate out, um, we would they would have somebody under them in a grade under them to take over and man the reins of that chapter. Um, and right now we're kind of in a transitional period from changing databases. We were using Razor's Edge previously. We went to Ariva, thought it might be a better fit for us, and we are implementing these Ariva's easy to use peer-to-peer solutions, fundraising solutions at the moment. Yep. Next slide. So yeah, our strategy, as I said previously, we switched to Ariba from another vendor, and we are using their peer-to-peer fundraising platform, which is great because it's integrated with their database. We also use GiveButter, but we're kind of weaning off of GiveButter, so we could just have everything strictly through this fundraising platform. We provide chapters with informational materials about Alzheimer's and related dementias, as well as AFA branded swag. And we enable quick onboarding with fundraising ideas in the packet. I create a packet for them with a ton of material, and one of those is a list of 40 fundraising ideas that they could do if they like. But most of the time, they come up with their own ideas, so I kind of have to. I should update it. I should add to those 40 that list of 40 ideas. Okay, next slide. All right, great. So yeah, I kind of touched on this at the beginning. Teens usually fill out an interest form online. Then I send them the packet. But in the photos on this slide, you see the AFA Teens Keystone chapter raised $9,527. They really raised a little over $10,000. Some of that came in the mail in the form of a check. So yeah, this is probably our greatest success story in the AFA teens. And it was actually started by a kid that has no relation to Alzheimer's, but he made a friend in his high school that, they ended up hanging out. He went over his house and he saw that his friend's grandmother had Alzheimer's, and this affected him so deeply that he decided to start an AFA Teens chapter in their high school. And they're going above and beyond. As you see, they've raised $10,000, and it's quite incredible. And yeah, right now we have 36 chapters nationwide. We're hoping to grow that, hoping to have a chapter, at least a chapter in every state. That would be great. We also are in the middle of well, actually, in the final week of our AFA Teens Awareness Scholarship. So college-bound students can apply to our scholarship, which we give about $5,000 to several winners of the scholarship each year. Um, uh, the deadline is April 1st. So if you know a teen that is college bound, that kind of has a significant experience or relationship with Alzheimer's, let them know about that scholarship. We love reading them. They can also submit a video essay, which is great and at times entertaining and usually very sad. But yeah, next slide. And this is what our application looks like for AFA teens, partially, a partial look at our application. Next slide. And a little partial look at our handbook, which I am in the process of redoing. I do feel like it's a bit dense, and it could be dwindled down a bit. So that is in the works, a new handbook. Next slide. And these are a partial list of the fundraising ideas that I usually send to the chapters once they start up. And just simple ideas like Loose Change Day, go around, reach in between your couch cushions, see what you pull out, and just donate it. Uh, yeah, things like that. I think a lot of these ideas could really create uh, a, a great fundraiser. And next slide. And yeah, we've implemented our peer-to-peer fundraising in other departments, like our development department. They usually use the teams aspect to fundraising. We have an annual golf classic that is actually coming up in May, I believe. And people could create a team and do team fundraisers that way, make it fun and kind of like have like sportsman-like competitiveness to raise funds. We also have a walk in the park that we do in the fall, and we have a lot of team fundraisers coming out of that also. Um, yeah, so at this moment we have about 40 active fundraisers, and they are all doing very well. Next slide. Ah, that was
Adam,
quick.
Adam, one thing I loved about your ideas, and I got to share this with you. I know you're talking about your handbook and stuff, but on your team fundraising page, on your site where it really shows the teams and the activity and how you register and all of that. You also, what I really, really liked about it was when I was clicking around, you had a really nice page, whether it was, you know, being a captain or being a peer-to-peer fundraising of a lot of different ideas. I know you said you had 40 plus ideas in your handbook, which is great. But I thought, the way that you shared it, whether it was in memorial, whether it was a bowling event for somebody that, couldn't bowl, but they did a bowling event, you had some very creative ideas and it was inspiring. I will tell you, because I always look for other ways of organizations doing it. It's not just the way we think it comes up, but I admire what you guys have done online when people are going and even looking at whether they're going to do a peer-to-peer or join the team fundraising. And the ideas were really, really great. So
Uh,
just to share
yeah.
that with you.
Thank you, David. As much as I would love to take 100% of the credit for that,
Just take the credit and
all
go.
right, I'll take it. I'll take it. But like these people, they have brilliant ideas, and they really, really do their thing with it. So yeah, kudos to them.
Just before we move on to the Boys and Girls Club stuff, because this is fascinating to me. If you're looking at a peer-to-peer thing, this is the most pure peer-to-peer ever, right? These are high schoolers, for God's sakes, right? They don't have donor databases, they don't have a development staff, they've got over enthusiasm and a cell phone. It's literally all they have, right? So if teenagers can do this, surely your board members can do this. I'm just saying. I feel like this is like the best example of how to use and just, kids are doing it. Guys, let's roll, right? So, nice
Yeah.
job.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that, Patrick. Enthusiasm and a cell phone. That's all you need, right? It will change the world. And this generation, especially high schoolers and above, they want to change the world and are motivated to do this. This gives them a platform to do it. And I love that example that Adam shared because it's just, it really is pure peer to peer. And you don't have to have an event. You don't have to have a campaign. You just have to have the tools and the infrastructure to be able to go, yep, start it. Here you go. Here's what you need to do. Go with it. And how powerful is that to just have ongoing peer-to-peer campaigns where somebody's always constantly raising money for your organization? Just that sustainability of that current, consecutive and continuous income into your organization that offsets the giving cycles of corporations, foundations, and government and public funds, right? So kudos to you, Adam. I really am impressed with the work that you've done there to create those campaigns and to activate a really, you know, multi-focused generation of high school students. I have a few of those myself in my home, and I'm like, great. Uh, they keep me busy. But yeah, so I think somebody asked in the chat, I think it was Elise asked in the chat, like, what do you do if you don't have an event? Adam just gave a great example of that. Um, Everybody has an end of year campaign, right? If you are not doing your end of year direct mail, like then you really are missing the boat. But all of us are doing that as organizations. We all have that direct mail. We all are doing end of year giving. We know that's a thing. This is how an example of how when I was with Boys and Girls Clubs, how we incorporated peer-to-peer as part of our larger campaign because you need multiple channels and multiple platforms for your message to get out there, right? We started at this last campaign, our revenue goal for just that November to mid-January time slot was $200,000 from individual giving. But when we started, we were doing great and celebrating when we hit 70,000. And I'll show you a little bit about that. But so we had a couple of goals. Whenever you're creating a campaign, you want to start with what do we want to achieve, right? We want to raise money. We want 100% board participation. Patrick said that too, right? If you can get the high school kids to do it, why can't you get your board members to do it? This helped us achieve 100% board participation in solicitation and giving to our mission, right? They sometimes are afraid. I don't have what I need to do that. I can't ask people for money. Yes, you can. You just need a cell phone and enthusiasm. I'm going to coin that. Dang it. That is awesome. We also wanted to reactivate our lapsed donors, people who gave last year. We all have our LIBUNT reports that we get out of Ariva and Exceed Further. I say last year, but not this year yet. So I call them Libunties because they just haven't given yet. And so we really wanted to make sure we were reactivating our lapse donors. And then we wanted to give this peer-to-peer fundraising to our board members so that they could really amplify and enhance what we were doing as part of our entire campaign. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So what was the strategy? This was, again, a beginning and an end of a campaign, not tied to an event, just our end of year giving. We wanted our committees to be divided up into teams. So we kind of used the team fundraising idea and mentality, but with peer-to-peer pages. And then we assigned each team a captain, but it wasn't going to be an adult captain. It was going to be a kid captain, one of the kids in our clubs who could speak about the impact and why they love the club. And then they're messaging their team board members to say, hey, did you post your your social media post this week? Did you send out that email? Thanks for supporting kids like me. Make sure you forward on your email, right? So the kid captains are helping to put that forward to motivate our board members and those running the campaigns to keep active and to keep doing that. We wanted to, again, integrate this message across all of our channels, our social media, our direct mail, our email, broadcast email communications, everything we were doing was all branded with our messaging. We wanted to align those stories, the mission impact of our kids and their story in their voice I don't want to tell their story for them. Nobody can tell the story better than our kids can of the missions that we're doing, right? Nobody can tell the story of your mission for your organization better than a client who's been impacted and their lives have been changed. So we really wanted to be able to share those stories, and we wanted to tie in mission moments across this, what we called the 12 Days of Hope campaign, for example, in here. Go ahead, Gabby, excuse me. So you can see we created a lot of assets, all branded with our logo, with these kid captains. There's one of our cute kid captains right there, with the tagline, Hope is yours to give, and really tied that into the direct mail piece. And then again into the next assets, if you want to go into the next slide. These are some of the social media assets we created. Really simple, easy things you can create in Canva with AI. You don't need to be a great marketing guru to be able to create some great photos and some messaging. There's so many tools that can help you to do that, but we really had a post a day for those 12 days that we were really doing of what was the message, what did we want it, and then those messages gave our peer-to-peer campaigns and those running fundraisers opportunities to share, like, comment, all of that stuff. Go ahead and go to the next. So here's how we set up the peer-to-peer campaigns. Now, as you saw with Adam, each kid or each person, high schooler or whatever, had their own page, and it was Joe's fundraising campaign for this Alzheimer's Foundation or whatever, right? You can do that. We chose to kind of blend the team fundraising idea with the peer-to-peer, and instead we had our kid captains and it was their page, and then we assigned our board members to their kids. Team Victoria, Team Bella. They had buttons that said "Ask me about Victoria" when they're out and around, so that we created the page for them on the back end in our prep for our campaign, so that all they had was their unique landing page for Team Victoria that they could share out whenever they were posting or liking or commenting. They could say, support Team Victoria because I support our clubs too because XYZ, and it drove them directly to their team's landing page, which is essentially a peer-to-peer, but with the kid as the captain. Go ahead. Again, the best thing that we did was equip our board members with a toolkit. So our board members were the ones running these peer-to-peer campaigns with the team and kid captains, but this is how we got 100% board engagement, is we made it really easy for them. Like I said, we created the pages for them on the back end and the prep coming up to it. And then we gave them a toolkit of what's expected of me. What are the goals? What is my role as a board member or a volunteer or whatever who wants to join this? What is my role? Your role is to give and to get others to give. Right. And so we made it really easy. We said, here's the timeline of when we're sending out our direct mail pieces, of when we're pushing out emails, of when we're posting public social media posts. Here's what we want you to do in conjunction with that and when, and gave them all the tools and assets that they needed to be able to do that. We gave them talking points. We gave them email templates. We gave them suggested Facebook posts. And then all they had to do was take their Team Victoria link and include it with those talking points and add whatever personal commentary they wanted to be able to do that. And that makes it really easy for your board members to be able to do that. And then we have Victoria call them and go, did you make that post yet? And then how are you going to say no to cute Victoria, right? Exactly. All right, go ahead and go to the next slide, Gabby. So as I mentioned, we started out in 2021, our end of year campaign goal, we thought we were doing great if we raised 70,000. Last year, we closed at over 210,000 in that same time period, that November to mid-January. Year over year, it's increased and doubled. The year before, last year, we broke over 100, and this year over 210. Again, that 100% board participation was so key to just go, this is easy for you to ask your people to give. Don't buy everybody can ask somebody to come sit at a table at an auction with them right? That's an easy out for your board members, but this made it an easy out for them to say, here's an opportunity to give to an organization that I personally am also giving to. We were able to acquire new donors through those peer-to-peer pages when they're posting on their social media, and their friends, family members, colleagues, coworkers, grandmas, grandpas are also clicking. Because it all came through the Ariva and Exceed Further, we captured that data. Now we know this person is also connected to this board member. And so next year when we're running it, we're like, hey, here's all the people who came. Who do you want to invite to your gala this year? Here's all the people who gave to your campaign. Who do you want to follow up with? Can you call them? Can you invite them to the next? Do you want to invite them to come volunteer with you and serve dinner at one of the clubs? So again, that control of the data and knowing who they're related to is so key. And then we were able to reactivate those lapsed donors. Everybody wants to jump on to that winning team, and by activating that friendly competition amongst board members and other pages and different things, it really motivates people to give and to give again. Go ahead. All right, our roadmap. I need to take a breath because I talk fast. So what do you do to prepare, right? So this is, you can think, I've got an event, I've got a golf tournament, I've got a 5K, or I've got my end of year campaign coming up. What do I need to do to prepare to get my peer-to-peer or my team fundraising page ready to go? So 90 days out, that's when you're planning. That's when you're meeting with your fundraising committee, your team, your team of one, whatever it is, to decide on how you want to structure that. What systems and software are you going to use? Are you using broadcast emails? Are you using social media? Are you using Exceed Further, peer-to-peer? Or is it pure peer-to-peer like what Adam's doing? Is it a team fundraiser because it's a 5K? What are you going to do? And you want to identify your champions, right? These people who are going to lead the cause, whether that's a kid captain paired with an adult or whoever it is, from your fundraising campaigns, fundraising committees, your volunteers, your donors, who are your champions for this, and ask them to join this campaign and to run a page. You do not raise money on Giving Tuesday on Giving Tuesday. You raise money for Giving Tuesday 90 days in advance by securing that participation well in advance. So get your key champions on board way before you launch your campaign and say, we're going to make it really easy for you because we are going to give you all the tools you need to identify your goals and your milestones and set what that is meant to be, and identify what are the roles of us and our staff. What's the role of the person running the campaign or our volunteers, of our ambassadors? What do we want them to do? And what are we going to do? Because you want to keep those promises. Go ahead. 60 days out, you're going to get all of those assets together. Everything, like I said and showed earlier, you want it to all tie together with your branding, your messaging, your theme, all of those things. So you're going to get your emails together. You're going to get some social media posts. You're going to get your graphics together, your talking points, all of those things. You're going to set up your peer-to-peer pages or your team fundraisers for your people who are going to participate, your champions that you've already identified. You're going to make it really easy for them. You're going to do all the prep work that they need to have in place to when you hit launch and we're going to go live, that they're live with you. Go ahead and next. 30 days out, you're going to, again, keep recruiting other people. You're going to get registrations if it's an event like a golf tournament or a 5K or a gala. You're going to, of course, be really pushing those signups and participation. You really want to get some of your announcements out. Hey, this is coming. Make sure you're following us. You're going to rally your troops and give them really clear instructions. You're going to go over that toolkit with them of like, on this day, this is what you're going to do. On this day, this is what you're going to do. We're going to follow up with you. Make sure you've got everything that you need, and checking in with them to make sure that they have what they need, because this is really, again, it's not a team of one. This is your peer-to-peer group. This is your team fundraisers. They need to make sure that they have everything that they need to feel confident that they can share this information and these tools out with their friends and families and contacts. Go ahead and next slide. Final week, This is when you launch, you're going live, you're running, whatever it is, if it's the final week leading up to it, or it's your 12 days of hope, or end of year campaign. This is when you're really actively pushing out your assets, your social media, so that your people can follow and tag team and piggyback on what you're doing as the organization. But then it's really important that you take those 12 people who are running a fundraiser page for you and update them daily, because they're your workforce right now. They need to get updates on what's coming in online. What are you seeing? Who's ahead? Who's behind? What came in the mail and it didn't come in online, but they need to know about it. You're going to send them those reminders and those tips of like, hey, don't forget to like and comment and repost. And that's really going to encourage that competition of like, hey, Team Bella has raised a little bit more than Team Victoria has. You don't want to be at the next board meeting and report out to everybody showing that you're the lowest group in there, right? I don't know if your board members were like mine. They loved that competition, and we loved getting them to motivate each other because they were just doing some of that friendly ribbing of who can raise more money for the organization. Or this company also donates to my campaign. Don't you also want to donate to my campaign? Which law firm's going to raise more money for us, right? That friendly competition goes a really long way. So this is where you're going to really acknowledge that, um, incentivize that by recognizing and appreciating. I think it was Adam who said, don't forget to thank the people who are raising the money for you, not just the ones who donate, but these are your ambassadors, your champions. You really want to thank them, appreciate them, recognize them, and incentivize them for participating. And you're just going to keep building that sense of urgency to the end of the campaign. Next slide.
I
Right
mean,
tools.
just a
Yeah,
really
go ahead.
quick thing
Thank
on
you.
this
Then
too,
I can get a drink.
because yeah. So the best part about this timeline is it's fantastic, but the things that some people don't put on the slide, which you kind of hinted at, is we like to think best of our volunteers, but we never add the part where your board chair says like I'm going to set up my page this weekend and then doesn't do it for 3 weeks. You get to plan for that, number
Accountability.
one. But you should probably build in a nudge for some of your fundraisers
Mm,
into that plan. Because here's the thing, like the organizations that really crush peer-to-peer stuff aren't the ones with the best software like Ariva. They're the ones with the best software like Ariva that remind you to check in
oh,
with your volunteers. This is almost like having a digital coach alongside you the entire
yep.
time. It's something you don't see in other software pieces and not in any other structure, is that there's a reminder, right? It's like a weekly, hey, I know you raised $200, you're amazing. Here's a template for your next ask. That's the secret sauce in all of this. That's what the whole loop
Yep.
together here is. This is a good game plan, but you also have somebody that's holding your hand and your board members alongside you. And that's the difference between letting it go and trusting that they're going to do it and having a whole system there to actually nudge you along the whole way. And that's the brilliance here is that. So kudos.
Yeah. So great. Thank you, Patrick, for sharing that, because yes, they need reminders and they need the
Mhm.
nudges. And our role, my role when I'm a director of development or the CEO, is to be the coach to my
Yep.
fundraising committee and to my board members so that they can go out and do what they need to do, which is raise more money. So I'm going to coach them along and give them the tools that they need to and remind them, right? But how better if you have a system like Ariva that can help automate some of those reminders. You've got built-in SMS texting. You've got built-in emails that you can put and assign those
Yeah.
flags and those tags and text your people, because I guarantee you they're not emailing, but they're going to look at a text that's coming from you, right? To go, don't forget to post this today, or that's coming out tomorrow. Make sure, are you ready? Right? Absolutely. Great
Brilliant.
point. Yeah. So
And by
automate
the
that the
way,
best you can.
Amanda, even while you're doing this,
Yeah.
and it's not a negative thing, but you can turn this into a very positive with your board. You can
Yeah.
actually use your peer-to-peer, not that you're just sending it out, but during your board meeting, you can
Yep.
recognize the people. They don't have to necessarily, some of them may have a certain goal, right? But as a board meeting comes up, you can bring this up. And I know if I'm sitting on a board and you're bringing this up on a quarterly basis, I want to make sure that I'm going to achieve my goal or I'm making progress. And by the way, it's not just about the money when you're recognizing the board member. It's also, you can say, I also want to thank you because of you, not only did we raise X, we also increased our donor database by Y. And that was really important. And of that Y, we've reached out to them. They love you as an individual, and they want to be part of what we're doing here. So that type of acknowledgement and recognition, and you're getting that information off of the system is so important. So there's a lot of different ways of using the teams and the peer-to-peer fundraising, board meetings, annual meetings, quarterly meetings, events. So these are really good things. But I know we've got a minute. I'm just going to do this really quickly. I always like to ask, but you can't raise your hands here. I don't know how many people know about Ariba, but we've been around for 30 years. We have thousands of clients. Our clients have done thousands of different events. Our software was developed by people within the nonprofit industry who really believe in the passion of helping the nonprofits through social giving and a lot of other things. We have a lot of national organizations that we've been vetted by, but really important that we solved a problem in the industry. And I think a lot of you said this. Over 75% are using more than one event. That means more than one application. That means you're moving data around. It's an issue. 56% said totally you're moving data around with the different systems. That's a lot. When you're moving data around, it doesn't allow you necessarily to really communicate and have a consistent movement with your constituents that are out there. We've solved that problem through our core flagship product, which all we do is through Exceed Further. Many applications, they've all built under the umbrella of one unified database. You don't have to buy everything. You buy things, but it grows with you as you grow. If we have grassroots organizations here, we have mid-sized organizations. We have AFA, who's done amazing things with this. But we really do not only provide software, but we do a lot for our clients to really help you succeed in so many different ways, whether it's through our support, whether it's through our client success. But we really do care as a company. And if you ever want to learn more about what we do, feel free to reach out and ask us. But it is an all-in-one solution with one unified database, fully integrated, automated. So when somebody gives a donation or any other thing, it goes directly into the database, sends automatic custom thank you acknowledgement receipt, which you can manage, and sends you a notification to your staff. So it allows best practices. Thank you.
Thanks, David. And if you'd like to learn more about Exceed Further and Ariba's software, go ahead and hit yes, and someone from our team will be in touch.
Hey, look at that kid. That's my actual kid. If you wanted to go on there, that's literally my kid on
I
a
see the
literal book that I
resemblance.
wrote. It's hilarious. By the way, he's a way better fundraiser than I am. So if you're interested, this book has everything that we talked about. Seriously, it's the core message why myself and Ariva and all our friends here get along so well. It's basically 200 pages of me making fun of myself, and then you learning about the things you shouldn't do and the things that you should. It's pretty great. And
It's
then again,
great, Patrick.
yeah.
It's great.
And here's the other thing too, before you kind of scoot out of here, and again, opening up for questions if you want to, just email us and we'll answer them anyway. If you leave this webinar, because there's a lot of information, if you leave it, that sounds great. I don't even know where to start, kind of thing. Pick one fundraising event. Like pick one thing that you're already doing and then say, could I give 10 people a fundraising page and can I get them to rock and roll with this, right? That's your entry point. You don't need 123 teams. You don't need a gigantic army of things. You need 10 people who love your mission and the link that they can share. Just start there, okay?
Thanks, Patrick. And if you would like to learn more about Patrick and Do Good Better Consulting, go ahead and hit yes, and we'll make sure he gets your info as well. All right, and then we can go ahead and get to the Q&A because we do have a few questions. Let me just pull these up really quick.
There's the great questions in the chat too. I know I've been trying to answer a few of those as well, and people saying their wheels are spinning. Like, reach out to us. I put my email in the chat. I'll put it again. Feel free. Like, my role here is senior fundraising consultant. I'd love to chat with you, spin those wheels with you, whatever you need. Patrick is awesome. He's kindred with me. I can already tell. So please, like, reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you offline as well.
And again, I think that the other moral of the story too is this makes it way easier than you think it is. That's the other thing
Yep.
too. It might seem overwhelming because it's a lot of information. Like I got a lot of money to raise and I've got a lot of people that I need to talk to. This simplifies the process.
Mhm.
You don't have to do this alone. You are gonna be okay. You just have to start. Like all these positive things that we'll be telling you every time that you connect with us. And that's the reason why people are so successful is because it is so simple. And I know it seems overwhelming because you might not have done it or you might not have done it well. But when you've got a system behind you, you don't have to worry about it. And all your questions are answered that way.
That's such a great point, Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we have one question. This was for Adam. Adam, I'd love to know more about how you are engaging teens in schools.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned previously, we do have our scholarship program, and as we promote our scholarship, we kind of do like a dual promotion of scholarship and AFA teens, try to get them on board. We also, in February is Youth Leadership Month, and
Mhm.
we um, give active chapters the opportunity to talk to their local news outlets, and a few of them have done radio interviews, and they turned out very well. And a lot of people hear it in their area, and they reach out wanting to learn more. Um, and we do a lot of e-blast, and it's word of mouth. I travel with my department to a state each month on our Educating Across America tour. So as we're there, depending on who approaches us with what kind of questions, that then leads into letting them know about AFA teams and on campus. And yeah, we have literature at these events that we hand out. So yeah, it's a lot of digital marketing and a lot of word of mouth.
And a follow-up question, do you reach out to the principals of the high schools or class presidents, and would you consider sharing your handbook and interest application with us?
I would definitely be willing to share the application and handbook and like give you a rundown of the process. But usually I don't reach out to the presidents unless they're the adult advisor. Each team's chapter needs an adult advisor. Usually it's a teacher, a counselor, or the president or vice president of their school, or even a parent outside of school. And it's just somebody that like I have usually like I have like a brief correspondence with them, like just introducing myself, getting to know them, letting them know how the chapter operates. And then from there, the kids take over. They're just on top of it with their monthly meetings, sending me their constitution, and yeah, so it's usually at the beginning I talk to their advisor, and then from there, it's all the kids show.
Awesome. This question comes from Anne. They are currently using Give Butter, so she would like to learn more about what led you to look into Ariva.
Just so it's integrated information, so we're not moving information around, as I believe David or Patrick said. Yeah, it's not like it's hard to use either. It's very intuitive, and you know, yeah, like I don't see the need for a gift butter if you have um, the Ariva Exceed Further database. Just use the the peer-to-peer fundraising portal.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback onto that comment as, a former Ariva client myself, right? And been in the fundraising world for 20 plus years using Donor Perfect, Razor's Edge, eTapestry, and then Bloomerang, and I moved from Bloomerang to Exceed Further because of that exact automation and integration, right? I was using Bloomerang, but also online pages that didn't integrate all of these other things and tools that were in multiple different platforms for my grants, my volunteers, everything I was doing online. And then, especially events, had to be manually imported back into my CRM. And so you can, all of these tools of running peer-to-peer and team fundraising campaigns, you can do on multiple platforms. But I am telling you, when you have the infrastructure and control of and efficiency of that automation and integration, that you're going to work smarter, not harder. You're going to have the information you need to, and you're not going to be spending time in multiple systems and multiple platforms trying to figure out this person's here on here and this person's over here and this is what they did. And do I have their email over here? No, I've got it over in GiveButter. I got to go over and get it from here. What are they doing? You're just working more efficiently across all of your systems into one database. And that's what I really wanted. I was like, when I came in as CEO, I was like, I am tired of everything being in different silos and spreadsheets. I need it all in one system. And as much as I can get into one system and do what we have with the tools, Ariva and Exceed Further were the only ones that I found who were actually doing it, not saying they could do it with a patch or something else you have to buy or integrate in. This is what we mean by we're all in one, automated, integrated for everything that you could need. Those other great tools, they all have great pros and cons and different things, but when you can get the control of your data and you can work, especially if you're a team of one, right? I know I was the fundraising development director for a long time where I was it. I was the marketing person, I was the development person, I was the person running the reports for the board meetings. And like you just don't have enough time and you want to be able to engage with your people, right? And so taking the administrative side into that fully automation and integration into one system is just going to be able to allow you to do what you do best, which is talk to your donors, talk to your board members, and engage with them that way.
To your point, Amanda, there's another question that came in. We use GiveButter, Feather, and not sure what we are using for our event for people to participate and join teams and or donate for the event. So will Ariva do all of this for us in one place?
Yep. 100%.
Awesome. Another question, does Ariva integrate with Bloomerang for nonprofits that don't want to move their current CRM and currently use Bloomerang for most things and then GiveButter for peer-to-peer?
I would say it this way.
Go ahead,
I would say
David.
it this way. You can run them parallel. I'm not sure why you would want to have that database. And I understand that you may be using other applications. We've been in this situation before where they had three huge applications: a donor database, an event, an auction platform, peer-to-peer fundraising team, and they wanted to consolidate it. One reason they couldn't move their database is because they just signed and didn't know about Ariva, a 3-year contract. So you can buy all whatever you need from Ariva, eliminating those different applications. And then we do have a way that you can import or export that data. Chris, you could probably talk about that a little bit more, but export that data and move that into your donor database while you're using that. So we could certainly, I don't know if Chris, if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, I know you getting data in and out of our solution is very simple. So, or I shouldn't say simple, but it's very easy to do and it's possible. So yeah, if you want to talk more about it, please contact us.
Yeah, and then there's a couple questions because it is a big project to move from one platform to another. Do you assist your clients who sign on with uploading all contacts in your system? What does a data migration look like with Ariva?
Well, I'm going to make it a little bit simpler. I'm going to pass it to Chris on this. But you know what? It is always the number one concern. Amanda, you had that same concern, and your team did not want to move, if I remember. They were a little concerned, but they were having so many data movement problems that they had to create more efficiencies. We get that question a lot, and it's a good thing to have that concern. There's no doubt about it. I will tell you, we have an amazing process. We will get a copy in advance of you signing anything. We will look at your data. We will understand how your data is structured. We will determine whether you're in a database that's records only, meaning every record is an individual. We do it by households, so it streamlines that. We look at all of the data, and when we're looking at this, we're just not looking at the donor database. If you have other sources, event sources, or other applications, we want to look at that data. We identify and then know exactly how many records that you have in your database. Part of our process is data cleansing. So we're helping you. We have a whole platform that identifies it. We flag things. If we can move from identify if you're coming from records into a household, different households. And then once that's done, you know your data better than anybody else. You review it, and then we take it live. It really is a great process. We've taken it from Blackbaud to Bloomerang to Donor Perfect to Virtuous, you name it, we've done it many, many times. I mean, look at Adam. Adam had a very large database with Racer's Edge. They were concerned. We had a great big meeting. We moved it. It wasn't a problem. We don't care whether it's 300 records, 5,000 records, or 500,000 records. Our process is exactly the same. We want to make sure that your data is moved and your data is moved correctly, that you are now working off a solid donor database. So, Chris, I don't know if you want to touch on that a little bit more, but
Yeah,
appreciate the
we and
concern.
we I think unlike some other companies out there, we spend a lot of time during the sales process, not after the sale, but during the sale, to try and understand your data as much as possible, however many data sources you have our engineers look at it free of charge and assess the level of effort it will take to migrate it, and then give you a not to exceed quote based off of that. We don't punt it till after the sale and then spring a large project that's going to cost you a lot of money afterwards. We want to know what we're both getting ourselves into in terms of level of effort, how long that's going to take to get done, and the cost before you decide to go with us, and so that we both understand the project and the scope of it. And I know that's not always the case with other companies, so I just want to mention that too.
And by the way, the question is, which I love this process, when we're looking at your data, and the question just came up, when we're looking at your data, because these are in-house data migration people within Ariba, they actually can come back and tell us, is it 3 hours? Is it 3 days? Is it 3 weeks? We will literally tell you exactly how long it's going to take, because we are very comfortable in knowing data. And I will also share this with you. We never miss a deadline. The only time we've ever missed a deadline is when we schedule the meetings of please review the data. You've got 10 days. If for whatever reason an event comes up or you're busy and you push it out, that's the only reason why any within Ariba, a data migration would be pushed out. If you follow our data migration process, we have really great project leaders and really great data migration people, and follow that. It's it's seamless. It really is. I mean, you have to do work. You have to look at your data. I mean, you know that better. I'm not going to tell you you don't. It's part of anything, but we do a really, and I'm very proud to say that we do a great job. And I think we have two clients, AFA and Boys and Girls Club of Salt Lake City, and that good example that moved from
Yeah.
two different or three different platforms and had multiple experiences on that.
Yeah, I love to tell this story because it's 100% true. So I was the director of development for Greater Salt Lake, and then I moved on to our national organization and then came back as CEO. I was for 9 years in Donor Perfect, and I was terrified to move because the devil I knew was better than the devil I didn't. And I wish somebody had pushed me harder at that point to make the change, because once I was in Ariba and working with my data, it was so much easier. I was like, why didn't I do this 10 years ago? Right. But I switched to Bloomerang, and then I went and worked with our national affiliate and then came back a few years later um, as CEO. And when I was looking at Bloomerang, I knew that there was information in donor records that was missing, especially with some of our foundations, because I knew I had entered it into Donor Perfect. Like I was the one that wrote it in there, and it was missing. And so something happened in that data conversion where we lost a lot of stuff. Chris and his team was able to go, they took our native files from that conversion, compared it with the ones that were updated from a few years, and they restored that lost data, and we had it back. And I was like, there it is. And we were able to get it. And it's so the data migration is so custom and so walked through for your organization, for what your records are, for what your needs are. And then when you're trained, we didn't train in a dummy database that was like blank records or, data. It was our data, and I could recognize that. I knew those donor names. I knew what should be there, where it was supposed to be. And so I really, really appreciated that one-on-one integration and training with our data conversions, because I know data conversions are scary and you're afraid of losing stuff. But I felt so taken care of by Chris and his team in that data migration process. And then to see my data restored and back in a way that I could use it and access it, that I was missing when I was with Bloomerang, quite honestly, it was just not there. So that's just my testimonial from my real lived experience. Take it for what you will, but I can tell you the reason I joined Ariba now in this next stage of my career was because Chris, David, the entire team are here to work with you as a true partner to make sure that you're going to meet your fundraising goals in whatever that is, peer-to-peer fundraising, your data, your grants, your volunteers, whatever it is, we're going to get it right for you. And we're here.
And by the way, not to add to this, but we actually help you set up your online
Yep.
donation pages. If you're
Yep.
doing the team fundraising, we actually help you set that team fundraising page up. Anything event registration, we help you set that up. And the beauty of this is once we set that up, it is so simple. If you're doing another event, I know there's multiple events or another team fundraising, it is literally copy and paste. Say, I liked my team fundraising last year. I wanted to make one or two changes. You literally copy the link, you submit it, you can default one, two things, and you are up and running with your next fundraising page, your event page. You can have multiple events, you can have multiple donation pages, multiple teams, a lot of flexibility on this.
Yep. Great. These have been great questions coming in. Thank you so much, everyone, for engaging with us.
Yeah, there's a couple more questions, but if you didn't get a chance to say yes on the poll, because I know there's a lot of specific questions about Ariba, go ahead and drop it in the chat and we'll make sure we get in touch with you to answer these very specific questions. But there was something that came in about our email communication features, not specifically for mass mailings, but individual email communications. Can you speak to that a little bit and how they update, on each contact record, some of the functionality there?
Chris?
How they update on each contact record? Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, if email communications are kept track in the
Oh, okay.
system
Gotcha.
on each
Yes.
record, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can send emails directly out of our solution, either, single or multiple groups of emails out. We have something called a journal that keeps track of that automatically. In fact, even for printed letters, it will do that too. It actually keeps a copy of what goes out, whether it's an email or a printed letter, and stores it for you on the contact record itself. So yeah, we do have that ability, yes.
Thanks, Chris. And then a follow-up question. Do you have any recommendations for follow-up after events to retain new donors wanting to convert event and peer-to-peer donors to long-term donors?
Yep,
Such
I
a great
do.
question. Go, Patrick.
Yeah.
Go.
So this is a cell phone, and it is sometimes used for things not just TikTok. You can actually put a phone number in and call people. This is weird. I know. You speak to them and say, thank you for attending and donating, and would you like to get coffee to learn more about where your gift is? And you can use analog. The best part about having a system like this is it gives you the digital tools to free up the time so you can sit in front of somebody and have a face-to-face conversation and enjoy the act of fundraising, which is human to human contact. Honestly, this is where technology is at its best. And I feel like everybody is so overwhelmed with the amount that they have to deal with. You don't have to worry about it, right? So you just have to pick up your phone and you just have to meet with somebody and you just need to give them a hug and a high five and ask about their dog and ask about their family and ask about their trip and get to know them a little bit better. And you use all these electronic tools at your disposal to free up your calendar to do this. And that's how you retain donors and you get to know them a little bit better.
And if you
Patrick,
haven't
take it
already purchased his book right now, go do it right
yeah.
now because I'm sure it's just
And
like
by
that.
the way, Patrick, and take it a step further. I make the phone call. You need, whether you're using Ariba or not, you should have a system that's automated. Go into the database. I just call them. This was my follow-up. Maybe I learned something. Maybe I asked them for their birthday. Maybe whatever it was. And then you could put it like, I think somebody here earlier said, a reminder. That's another way of truly building and nurturing new relationships or even old
Yeah.
relationships.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, and I would say that was what I was talking about, control, right? When you have control of the data of people who are supporting your event or your campaigns or whatever, now you can communicate and engage with them through multiple channels. And the best way, as Patrick said, is that person to person. And that's what you want to be able to spending your time doing, not spending your time data manually, data entering, doing a ton of manual data entry. That's the phrase that I was working for, right? Or trying to pull reports or different things. The great things about having those integrated into one database is now I've captured their name, their phone number, their email, and their all of the who they gave through. And I knew it was with this board member or whatnot. So I can make sure that board member is thanking them. Hey, Patrick, you had 30 people who donated. Here's the people who make sure you know that these people donated. Have you called them yet? Have you thanked them? I'm going to call them. I'm going to thank them, but making sure that there's that. We would take also from an event, a gala, you capture their, we've got a great text to bid platform as well where you're capturing their cell phones, right? You send out a survey. Did you love the event? Did you like what you saw? Did you not like the event? Did you like the food? Tell me more about why you came, who you came with, right? And then follow up from those surveys or an email survey. But especially day after, next day, pick up the phone and call them, assign your board members to call people they're not connected to. Imagine if Chris calls one of Patrick's friends and says, hey, I saw that you supported this campaign or you came to this event. I'm a board member. I'm a volunteer. I just really want to thank you for that. I'll tell you 100% that you need to be able to get that out and you need to be able to get that. If your event is on Saturday, your board members need to be calling on Monday, right? Take it a step further. Have a client call. Do you have parents? Do you have people who have benefited from your services? We had kids making thank you calls. They'd leave voice messages, but that's okay. Doesn't want to get a cute voice message from a kid saying, hey, my name's Victoria. Thank you so much for giving to kids like me and supporting the cause. I really appreciate you. Hands down. I got a phone call once and said, I got a call from your kid. I want to increase my donation from $500 to $1,000 just because a kid called them and said thank you. There is power in thanking people, and that's the best way.
And Meredith's follow-up was like, you got thousands of people. Great. Use technology and use the system to prioritize the highest ranked donors, your longest term donors, your biggest potential donors. Like use it to prioritize. So you don't have to call everybody, but you've got a certain segmentation of people that you have to have a personal touch point with. And that saves you the time needed to try to figure out and try to like a shotgun approach that doesn't really work. So
and divide that 1,000 people amongst your board members.
Or even volunteers. I mean, I've had schools, so if you can really segment out the database and say everybody over $1,000, I want this person to call. Anybody under 1,000, maybe we send out an automatic or a direct welcome. There's a lot of different ways of touching people, even though you may say I can't do this all with a phone call. But use your board members, use your volunteers, use your active donors. There's a lot of people that can help you accomplish the goals of nurturing as well.
And then one final question. I know we are very over time, but we are a deaf-centric organization, so making content available in American Sign Language and captions is essential. Do your pages offer this?
I throw that to Chris.
Can you read that one more time, Gabby? Go ahead.
So if I'm understanding the question right, so on your donation pages, you serve a clientele who are deaf-centric. And so interpretation services of either captions on videos or sign language of somehow video sign language and different things like that would be important for your client base, right? I think that's how I interpret it. Can we accommodate something like that on our donation pages?
We have done things like that. I believe most of our pages by default have accessibility built in. This is a little bit more technical and above my pay grade, but I can definitely find out, Gabby, a little bit more when I talk to our CTO about this. But I know that we have built-in accessibility. Whether or not there's any issues that we should be thinking of, I do need to check because I know there's readers that can read things and translate. We also have dealt with organizations like that use our application on the back end. So, but I believe on the front end we have that covered. But I will find out more about that.
It's also very easy to embed a video onto a donation form or page. from like I'm recording somebody with my cell phone and I post it right and embedded into the page itself. So if you had somebody who was signing a testimonial or a video or what the cause is or what the form is, it's really easy to embed a video. So you certainly could do that.
And that question came from Anne Marie. So we can even do a little bit more research and
Yeah.
learn a little bit more about what you're looking for, and someone from our team will reach out.
Yeah, she says there's the misconception that caption services people whose native language is ASL, which is incorrect. Yeah, I can totally see that. So probably video messaging might be the best way of interpreting that content. And as I said, it's very easy to embed a video onto a donation form.
Well, those were all the questions that we had. Are there any final thoughts before we hop off? No.
Use peer-to-peer. Use the technology to free your calendar. Pick up the phone. Raise all your money.
Buy Patrick's book.
That's right.
Sign up for
Aw.
Exceed Further.
First, I just want to thank everybody who attended and anybody here that's really left. You guys are absolutely amazing. And I really hope everybody got a lot out of this session. I do really want to thank Adam for your time, for your knowledge, for sharing the way that you do things at AFA. You have great success. Continue with your wonderful success. By the way, you know we're great partners. Anything you need from us as well. Patrick, you're one of the most amazing partners that we have in our partner program. You're an amazing consultant. I hope not only do they buy your book, but they call you, because you truly have, as much as you have the wonderful energy and the great humor, you have so much great knowledge and passion for this industry. And you really do help a lot of the nonprofits that are out there. So I want to thank both of you for joining us. Gabby, I can't thank you enough. You do an amazing job in your own right. This wouldn't happen without you and the coordination. Amanda and Chris, you guys are both wonderful. You guys add so much value and knowledge. I want to always thank you for finding the time to do all these wonderful things to help our communities at large. So thank you guys for everything. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
My
much.
friends.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
everyone.
Good to see you, Adam.
Nice to see you too. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Bye-bye. For anyone still on, you're going to get a recording right after this, as well as the PowerPoint slides. And then any demo requests, things like that, be in contact and we'll send those over to Patrick. So thank you, everyone, and make it a great day.